Introducing Paul Hobby, Hall of Fame legend and 1991 Texas Business Hall of Fame Scholar Award recipient, Doug Foshee.
Okay, before I get started, how many people in the room want Rick Campo to bring back that handlebar mustache you saw in the video? Thank you. Paul, it is time to bring this home. I have had the great privilege of knowing Paul and his lovely wife Janet for 30 years, and I'm so proud to have the honor of helping usher Paul into the Texas Business Hall of Fame. I've seen Paul in seemingly every possible scenario: entrepreneur, business leader, civic leader, church leader, husband, father, and now even a grandfather. And in every instance, Paul has exhibited intellect, energy, compassion, empathy for others, and yes, Paul, as a credit to your mom, decency. As you saw in the video, Paul has made tremendous contributions to Houston and to Texas in his business life, from founding one of Texas' leading private equity companies to saving and leading the largest alternative fiber optic network in Texas, Alpheus Communications, to the rejuvenation of one of Texas' iconic brands, Texas Monthly, to the acquisition, growth, and successful disposition of the leading satellite communications provider for the offshore marine business, Caprock Communications. There is seemingly no outer bound to Paul's bandwidth in business. But like many successful Houstonians who have come before him, Paul hews to the notion that to whom much is given, much is expected. To that end, he's held leadership positions in local, state, and national nonprofits in higher education, healthcare, and public policy, too numerous to recite. If you ask Paul, though, what he's most proud of in life, it's his family. Sarah and I have had the good fortune of watching Paul and Janet raise their family through our shared church membership. And Paul's love of family, Janet, Grace, Walker, and Eric, and now their respective spouses and grandchildren, is central to his life and his greatest love and accomplishment. Paul, forgive me for repeating a quote, but it's just too fitting to pass up. T.H. Fehrenbach famously said that in Texas, people who exist get run over by people who act. And ladies and gentlemen, Paul doesn't just act, he leads. Paul Hobby is nothing if not the quintessential 21st century Texan. The most erudite person in this room tonight, who proposed to his wife while on the back of a horse. A man facile with things like leveraged buyouts, convertible stock, net promoter scores, who also got his wife bucked off of a horse and used that as an occasion to let her know that she was pregnant with their first child, Grace. And what could possibly be more Texan than a distinguished scholar from the University of Virginia and the University of Texas Law School, whose grandparent name is Popsy, to a man who embodies everything that is great about the great state of Texas. Paul, let me be the first one to welcome you into the Texas Business Hall of Fame.
Wow. Maybe we just stop right there. I don't think it gets a lot better. And through the tyranny of the alphabet, I am intensely mindful of the fact that I stand between you and the end of this game. So Doug was right. We're going to bring this thing home. Doug is a friend and a guiding light for so many people, and obviously me foremost among them. The other first thing that needs to be said is that I'm a big fan of all these other honorees, so I'm sitting there clapping like the rest of you, which means, therefore, I am profoundly humbled to be in this company, as I think, there's a common theme of that tonight. The good news there is that I'm used to being profoundly humble because I'm married fortunate enough to be married to Janet. And after 35 years, she's still way too good for me, and I would have it no other way. As Doug said, we have most of our children here. We have in-laws and outlaws in abundance, and I hope you all know that you are my pride and joy each and every day. The other two groups I need to thank early and prominently are my Genesis Park colleagues and our Hobby Family Office cohort. They all just spoil me beyond measure. My forum mates over there somewhere and my NRG colleagues also deserve my deepest gratitude for attending this evening. I guess my story is a little different than most honorees because there is no one big achievement that blocks out the sun. I repeatedly explained this to Amanda when she first called, and I said that fact alone makes me unworthy of this kind of recognition. And she kept saying, "It's not up to you." Pretty persuasive. It's more than just the accent. And I confess that phrase resonated. It resonated loudly and it resonated deeply because that is a lesson I have learned repeatedly. You know the cliche, if you want to hear God laugh, tell him your plans. Well, I did and he did, and then we got on with this thing called life, as you saw in the video. And that has taken us better and more abundant avenues of service than we could have ever planned on our own. I once read a long piece about Stan Musial, and the preamble there must have moved me because I remember it. The preamble is as follows. It said, "This is a big story of little stories, small kindnesses and quiet dignity," which is weird because I'm not exactly a baseball guy, even though, of course, we're all baseball guys just right now. Well, many of you can testify that I'm not sure I have quite achieved quiet dignity yet, but we do tend to leave things better than we found them by doing the next right thing, the next decent thing. As you saw in the video, we take great pleasure in helping our entrepreneurs succeed, and more specifically, we have done some good things. We've lit a bunch of fiber in South Texas, and Doug was too humble to admit that he's part of that story. Alphea started out as El Paso Communications, El Paso Global Communications. We changed the name because 3 of the 4 words were false. It was not in El Paso and it wasn't global, but it was communications. It was. We have installed and financed a whole mess of solar panels because that's good for everything. We have put community gardens where abandoned lignite mines used to be. We have worked to improve fugitive oil field emissions, avoid flaring, and increase water recycling. We've supported innovative advanced manufacturing in Texas and provisioned defense and commercial activity in space. So a lot of little stories. It was just so surprising to find out that the world is watching all of that. The last thing I want to say is how proud I am of the Texas Business Hall of Fame. My hands were among those spinning this wheel in the mid-90s. And since then, better and faster hands have made a good thing into a great thing. In that respect, I need to honor my partner in that period of the Hall of Fame's progression, Milton Scott. Milton succeeded me as chairman in 1996, and a truer friend no one ever had. Unconditionally positive, crazy competent, and so much fun. Many of you know that Milton left us too soon, and we miss him terribly. We are joined here this evening by Milton's wonderful wife, Yava. Thank you, Yava. We're honored by your presence. We miss Milton, and we love him every day. Milton and I both recognize that this is an organization that is highly efficient. It's a virtuous cycle of reinvestment in special young people, and we're honored to have been a small part of it. Again, many thanks to you all. Good night, God bless, and go Astros.